Talons of Weng Chiang is the only story in Tom Baker's entire 7-year run as the Doctor in which he never wears his iconic scarf at any point. Welcome to the Time Treadmill. I'm Ron, and these are my sweaty thoughts about Doctor Who. Before I can really talk about the Talons of Weng Chiang, first I have to address the giant elephant in the room, or more specifically, the giant Asian elephant in the room. The character of villain Lee Chiang is played by actor John Bennett. Now, you might hope that perhaps John Bennett is a stage name adopted by an Asian actor, but no, John Bennett was an English actor known specifically for performing in yellowface, which, if you're somehow not familiar, is a term for white actors playing Asian roles. It's a really horrible practice. It was incredibly common, especially in the era in which The Talons of Weng Chiang was written and produced. That doesn't forgive the practice, however. And it doesn't end at just that. The story is loaded with really terrible Chinese stereotypes, with Chinese gang members, Tong, depicted in the most stereotypical costumes and speaking in an extremely stereotypical pidgin English sing-song kind of accent. And beyond that, the costuming and performances all lean heavily into all of the horrible cultural inaccuracies propagated by the entire Fu Manchu series of movies that were very popular in the decades prior to this story airing. And so from front to back, The Talons of Weng Chiang is loaded with just terrible cultural stereotypes and performances. And from that measure, it is an awful story. And yet, I still love this story. It's one of my favorites. And I know I say one of my favorites about a significant number of Doctor Who stories. But really and truly, The Talons of Weng Chiang was the 10th and last of the original Pinnacle books, the American publication of Doctor Who novelizations that happened in the late 70s. And so it was one of the formative stories from my youth that I just absolutely loved, and particularly when I was 9 years old and didn't recognize any of the bad cultural stereotypes in the story. But beyond just me, a great many people in the fandom love this story, and justifiably so. It's arguably Leela's best story, and the construction of the story is this amazing mashup of Sherlock Holmes and Fu Manchu and Phantom of the Opera. I mean, it has the freaking giant rat of Sumatra in it. It is a Doctor Who classic. I mean, heck, for that matter, it has a little bit of My Fair Lady rolled into it, with Leela cast in the Eliza Doolittle role. It's Robert Holmes firing on all cylinders and doing what he does so well throughout this era of the program, mining classic horror and dramatic fiction and turning it into incredible gothic Doctor Who stories. There's just so much to love about this story, and that's what makes it so unfortunate to have all of these difficult aspects to it. As I understand it, on BritBox, where they stream this story, it's preceded with a warning that the story contains outdated and unfortunate cultural stereotypes. That's justifiably so, and I think it goes to the heart of how we as consumers can choose to view stories with difficult pasts. It's the reason that a movie like Song of the South will likely never see the light of day again. And for a lot of very good reasons, although it contains some very important cultural heritage in the history of animation and of the Walt Disney Company. In these chaotic and divisive times of 2020, I think it's important to recognize the truths of the problematic things in the entertainment that we consume. But at the same time, I don't think we have to be barred from viewing it and enjoying it on its own terms. And there is so much that the Talons of Weng Chiang have to offer. And so that's really all I have to say on the matter, is I choose to still thoroughly enjoy this story for all of the great things that are in it, while still recognizing the unfortunate and hurtful stereotypes contained within. And on that note, tomorrow I will actually talk about the story itself. I'll see you then.